Now, so 3.11, 3.12, 3.13, 3.14, 3.15, 3.16, 3.17, 3.18, 3.19, 3.2. And this is between 3.1 and 3.2. I can zoom in even further until you get to the thousands place. From 3.11, I can get 3.111. All the way to 3.119. Then I get 3.12. And I can see the fraction is up to 1,000 base as a denominator. Okay, because now you go up to 3 decimal places. Okay, and do you know this can even go further to 3.1111, 3.1132. I can zoom even further. Even smaller, even further, even further, even further, even smaller, 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 smaller. And you realize that when things go up to this decimal place, it is very small and tiny. I reset now. And those things are things, those measurements come in handy when you're measuring things like the COVID virus. Anybody can see the COVID virus? With your bare eyes? Cannot, right? So things like the COVID virus need a microscope to measure. The decimal place goes up to 0.000000006, up to 6 to 9 zeros, decimal places. Very small. The day we cut the bread until 1,000 place is this big, right? Imagine you cut that 1,000 place into another 1,000 times. Smaller than a full stop, right? Okay, so that's about decimal. Now today we move on. Let me share a new screen. New share here. Okay, so I was telling Alicia earlier on, I said, please refer to your textbook. Like, see, how I know whether she did her work with reference to her textbook is this. There's an example shown here. Okay, Alicia, refer to your textbook. That's the easiest way to look for ways to solve the problems in your workbook. Then the next one is your SLS, and then Miss Lynn's YouTube video, right? So actively go and look into your textbook, read it. Okay, now moving on. Let's move on to a quick song. Start her video. Okay, this one tells us tens and hundreds song, the place value song. And then the next one will be on rounding. Sorry, this one not correct. That was for P5. Okay, let's take a look at this one.
Visit numberrock.com.
Visit numberrock.com
for ad-free videos, lesson materials, and more.
If you split the number 1 into 10 parts, that's where the decimal place values start. The values less than 1, they're quite small, like 0.1, which is a decimal, y'all. This number as a fraction is 1 over 10, and 0.1 is its decimal equivalent. Fractions over 10, 100, 1,000, and on. Or all decimal numbers, it's a phenomenon. Decimals are fractions, just with different names. They each have a value that's exactly the same. Whole numbers to the left, decimals to the right. They get smaller and smaller till they're barely inside. Like whole numbers can get big, decimals can get small. If you know place value, you can imagine them all. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. On a place value chart, you'll see a pattern starts. If you split 1/10 into 10 equal parts, this new value is 100th, and in every case, 100 hundredths equals 1 whole in the ones place. And if you split just 100th into 10 parts, that's the next place on the place value chart. This value is 1,000th of the number 1. Like every decimal, it's a special fraction. When any denominator is a power of 10, that fraction can be written as its decimal equivalent.
We got the tenths, the hundreds, the thousands, and more. Let's imagine a number line to further explore. You see, there's a special land between 0 and 1 where you find decimal numbers. In every fraction between 0 and 1, make 10 intervals. These are tenths written as fractions or decimals. When counting by tenths, after you get to 9, the tenth makes one whole on the number line. Let's see what happens as the place value decreases. And 1/10 is divided into 10 equal pieces. We get 100th written as 0.01, and 10 of these make a 10, but we're not done. Split 100th into 10 parts, and we'll get 1,000, the smallest value we've seen yet. 10 thousandths makes 100th. 100 makes 1/10, 1,000 thousandths makes one whole. Isn't it brilliant?
All numbers to the left, decimals to the right. They get smaller and smaller till they're barely inside. Like whole numbers can get big, decimals can get small. If you know place value, you can imagine them all.
Visit numberrock.com.
Okay, so that was an example of the song that explains, just recap of what I said earlier on. So right now, what I need you to do is your maths exercise book, take it out now. Let's do a brain gym that we have been a time that we haven't do brain gym, right? So let's do one brain gym now. You can take out your journal, flip to an empty page. We do one brain gym now.
Ad-free videos.
Okay, so right now we will go and do one brain gym. Let me click this. If you are ready, 40 seconds starts now. Okay, do you need more time? Give you another 20 seconds. Okay, so we are revising rounding for whole numbers. Okay, Pedro, please stand up and answer this question. Fill in the missing numbers, round each given number to the nearest 100. 1,672 is between 7. Fill in the missing numbers. Round each given number to the nearest 100. 1,672 is between 1,700 and 100. Round each given number to the nearest 100. What place are we looking at? The 100th place. 1,672 is between which 100th place and which 100th place? Clarissa? Which 100th place? Class, 1,672. Which digit is in the 100th place? 6. What are the okay. Good that we do this brain gym. When I ask 3 different people for answer and 3 people also cannot get answer, this shows that our running has been forgotten. And that is a very bad sign. If you recall, we did this. Yes, do you remember? And we did this. Remember? We stood outside and then voted for our favorite poster. And now we are so lost. This is a bad sign. Let's take a look at the question again. The question says, (1,672). The question says, round to nearest 100. We are looking at the 100th place. Okay. Thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones. Oh, very ugly. Let me do it again. 1,672. Question says, round to nearest 100. 100 means we look at the 100th place. Thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones. This is the whole number. We haven't talked about decimals yet. We are just revising whole numbers. Thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones. We have to round to the nearest 100. There are a few methods. The first shortcut method was that most of us remember is when I'm looking at this place, to decide on the nearest 100th place, I need to focus on the 10th place. And then previously, most of us, when we were writing the posters, we were describing if the next door, look next door, more than 5 or equal to 5, round up. less than 5, round down. That was the first shortcut. Now, another method we said was, so this is the shortcut, memorize the rhyme. Look next door, more than 5, round up, less than 5, round down. So if I round up, it will be 1700, 1700 to the nearest 100. Now the other method that is more concept based, you need to remember. Just now what is written. When we did 4 numbers in term 1, I said, guys, we need to remember how we can explain. I have 16726 in the hundreds place. Question asked for round to the nearest 100. Focus at the hundreds place. Lower 100. Okay, maybe I wrote the number line vertical. Lower 100, 1600. Upper 100. 1700. Because focus on the hundreds place. The middle point, midpoint. That's 1650. So I find out that 1672 is closer to 1700 than 1600. So I will 1672 will round to 1700. So method 1, remember the shortcut. The rhyme goes, round to the nearest 100, focus on the hundreds place. Look next door. 5 or more, round up. Less than 5, round down. So I round up to 1700. That's the memorize the quick step. The concept of this goes like this. When I need to round to the nearest 100, I look at the number, focus on the hundreds place. Lower 100, 1600. Upper 100, 1700. Midpoint, 1650. I find that 1672 is closer to 1700 than 1600. So curly whirly, do you remember the curly whirly? So 1672 will be rounded to 1700. Can you understand this? Sound familiar? Sound familiar? Now, so when I go back to this, you need to be able to read this already by now. All right, you go. Or Phaedra, you want to try again? Oh, no, I just went through the question, right? You should know the answers now, right? Give it a try. 1672 is between and 100. What 200s are we looking at? 1000 and how many hundred and 1000 how many hundred? 1600 and 1000 700. So 1672 is between 1600 and 1700. 1672 is nearer to, yes, Roxanne? Thank you very much. That's excellent. Rachel, you want to try the last sentence? So when I do rounding to the nearest 100, say 1600, read it out. 1672. No, read it properly. 1700. Now look, when I speak 1700, we can hear clearly the 100 comes out. If I say 1700, can you hear the 100? No. That's why I keep emphasizing, read it out properly. Explain it properly. That will help you. Okay? And you need to practice often enough. So many of you have forgotten already. Now with the same skills, we are going to do rounding of decimals. We are going to do a group work. As a group, sit down, Adrian. As a group, you're supposed to solve 3 rounding questions. Work through the solutions as a group. Present answers to each other. Explain using race and the maths language, like how I used with you just now. I don't say number as in 700, but I say 700. Now it's a bit tricky, decimals. How to read decimals properly? Just now I was telling Zahir, no, you don't read it as 3.12. It's 3.12. But when you read, for example, let me stop share here. For example, if I read a number, I change this to a decimal, I anyhow add a decimal point here. This whole number is now not just a whole number. It's a whole number with decimal parts. Then I cannot go 16.72. That does not make sense. I will have to read it as 16.72. Can you understand that? I will also not say 16.72. That does not make sense too. Why? Because it's the reading, the manner of reading in maths. It's like $16.72. But when it's decimal without the dollar sign, it's 16.72. So you need to practice that often. Okay, to help us to answer these 3 tasks, these 3 questions, a little bit challenging. I will let you try as a group first. If you are stuck, then I will help you with it. Okay? Okay? Now, to help you, I play a nice song, fun song. It is helpful again.
When rounding to a certain place value, find the rounding place, then continue to look at the number to the right, man. You don't need luck. If the digits 5 or more, then you round up. If the digits less than 5, then you round down. That's how the rounded number is found.
When rounding up, the rounding place goes up by 1. When rounding down, it stays where it had begun. The numbers to the right of the rounded digit get changed to zeros, then it's legit.
When you need to find out an approximate amount, rounding gives you numbers that are easy to count. When you need to find out an approximate amount, rounding gives you numbers that are easy to count.
But when rounding to a decimal place value, find the rounding place and then continue. The process to round decimals is the same. You just need to know the place value names. The number to the right must be found. 5 or more, round up, less than 5, round down.
When rounding rounding up, the rounding place goes up by 1. When rounding down, it stays where it had begun. When you round decimals, you can erase what's right of the rounded digits place.
When you need to find out an approximate amount, rounding gives you numbers that are easy to count. When you need to find out an approximate amount, rounding gives you numbers that are easy to count.
Here's a trick to use to help you choose where the digit to the right tells you to move. Draw 0 to 10 on a hill with 5 on top. A car drives until it comes to a stop. If it's 5 or more, it moves forwards. If it's 1 through 4, it moves backwards. Forward rounds up, backward rounds down. Just a little trick to help you round.
When you need to find out an approximate amount, rounding gives you numbers that are easy to count. When you need to find out an approximate amount, rounding gives you numbers that are easy to count.
Okay, now I feel that after testing out with the whole numbers, rounding is quite raw for us. So before I set you off to do the group activity, I decided to go through one example for you. So this is page 37, 2 examples. Now, if you take a look at this one, thank you, Kaisa. This is page 37. You can refer to your page now. Thank you. Now, I will want to remind you again, please, you need to put in more effort to do regular practice and reading. So if you were to follow your textbook on this page, it shows you all the processes, steps, and learning step by step. Very helpful, like here. So this is on page 35 of your textbook, all the way to 40, 41 of your textbook. It's very useful to just put in effort to read it. Okay, now I show you the example in the workbook now. This is page 37. So for example, question page 37, question 1a. Now, please, I'm going to show you how I explain. Using the race and maths language. So, do my RAC as usual, read the question. Some of you, I have to keep repeating this because I just collected your work. So, if I don't be nagging at you, so few of you will put in effort to highlight and annotate the question. People like over there, I can already see the corner of my eye. You are trying to do the whole worksheet before even me saying. I said multiple times. Stop being satisfied with completing your work. Finish and happy, done. No, that's not going to be enough. I was marking through your work yesterday. Just the first page alone, the simplest page that many of you take less than 10 seconds to finish, full of mistakes. Zari here has a mistake. ID has a mistake. Hora has a mistake. And I brought it back to tell him about it previously already. Zashi has a mistake. Those of you who had the in, Farah has a mistake. On the simplest one. What is the simplest one? Write down the number this in the place value chart. You got that giveaway question wrong. Look, you end up getting it wrong. I return you have to do corrections again. If you have used the time for corrections to do it properly, then there's no corrections to talk about. And look, if you keep having that habit, come exam time, you won't bother as much too. If you have the same attitude, then during exam time, you will be still doing the same thing. Focus on just finish. Check also don't want to check properly. And the same problem will come. You'll get simple things wrong as well. Now, so diligently go through the race. I said before already, the more often you do it, the faster it gets. The less often you do it, every time I ask you to do it, it becomes such a bore and such a drag. Then you do fast, wrong again. Come on, some of these good habits last a long way. Now, round each decimal tells you to do approximate nearest whole number. Look at this. It tells you whole number. So whole number gets you to focus on the place, which I tell you right now, since we start off this chapter, the first page, I said, look, this is important. This is the trick that's going to help you for the whole topic of decimals and fractions and all the way on. So this is important. So when it comes to this, I have my place value mat, decimal point, my tens, hundreds. Okay, question says round the decimal to the nearest whole number. So I'm focusing at the whole number place, that is the one place. That means once I approximate and round the number, I shouldn't see decimal place anymore. The decimal place becomes invisible. Okay, so I should just see the whole number part. No more. Okay, previously I said, look, it helps if you add the decimal point and the zero behind, so that it helps make counting easier. It can make counting easier. The key factors, I said, the upper end, the lower end, the upper end, and the midpoint. So 6.6 is after the midpoint of 6.5, is nearer to 7 than is nearer to 6. So when 6.6 is rounded to the nearest whole number, it should be 7. Now, because it says whole number, it stops at the ones place. I cannot write 7.0. If you write down 7.0, it's 0 marks. Can you understand? So nearest whole number, I need to have C. The ones place is what I end up with. Is that okay? So another example. Page 38. Let's say I do question 2A to the nearest dollar. Okay. Yeah, some of you answer very quickly. The thing is, answer very quickly, I think it's good. That means, like I told you before, you are at level 3. You can do by yourself without needing examples. Then my challenge for you is, can you reach level 4? Level 4 is you stand here, you explain to other people how to do it. Okay, if you feel that you can do it, that's very good. I think most of us in this class are at level 1 or 2. You need to see examples before you do. So here says to the nearest dollar. Look, it didn't tell you what place is this. This is now the tricky part in decimals. It tells you to the nearest dollar without telling you what place it is. You need to understand that when you see nearest dollar, it's talking about the ones place. The place value match. And when it talks about the nearest kilogram, the nearest liter, the nearest centimeter, the nearest meter, all these units is telling you that you got to focus on the ones place. And you must make sure you've written down the units. If you don't have units, that's minus half mark. So looking at this example, 2A, I have $9.60. Nearest dollar, so I focus on the dollar. The lower dollar is $9. The higher dollar, the upper dollar is $10. That is what $9.60 is between. The midpoint is $9.50. That's the middle point in between the lower dollar and the upper dollar. Can you understand that? And you will know that $9.60 is nearer to $10 than is to $9. So when I round, you will get me $10. Now take note, you cannot write 10.00. Even though it's also $10, but you show that there's decimal point. So this is wrong. This is then correct because you're rounding to the nearest dollar. Approximation is important in understanding, demonstrating your accuracy in writing. So when I write $10 without any decimals placed behind, I show that my approximation is to the nearest dollar. But if I were to write $10.00, this does not show that I'm rounding to the nearest dollar. Instead, it shows that I'm rounding to the nearest 2 decimal places, to the nearest cent. Can you understand what I'm talking about? Okay. Is this okay? Now you finish 37, 38 on your own. Give you 5 minutes. 37, 38. Who is done? You done? You get ready to present your answers. Who else? 37, 38. Do it now. I will change my activity today. Our group work we will do next week instead. Yes, you may. I don't think we are ready for group activity because the topic of rounding seems so raw to you. $37, $38, do now. Do some annotations and looking to help me. See what I'm writing there? So your face value concept is very important here. If you cannot recall your face value, that's going to be important. Don't forget the curly sign. very sign. The very sign is very important to show approximation. What am I talking about? Okay, take a look at here. This gives you a number, it's asked you to do approximation. You need to write down the approximation symbol, the curly sign. Okay, can you look here? You didn't write this down. This curly sign shows rounding, approximately equal to. Is different from equal sign. Is that okay? Now, looking at the durian here, are you done with 36, 37, 38? If you're done with 37, 38, can you raise your hand? Who thinks you are ready to explain to the class? Okay, very good. Rasha, you will explain page 37, question C. Alright, you'll explain page 38, question C. Anybody else? Want to try? I will do question B first. Okay? I'm on page 37, question B. Anybody else still working on 37, 38? They're doing? Okay, give it another 2 minutes. Okay, all right. So I'm looking at question 1B, 18.4 when rounded to the nearest whole number. Like I said previously, whole number represents the ones place. So before you need to round before the decimal place happens. Guys, I'm on page 37, question 1B now. If you got this correct, you can give yourself a baby tick. If you got it wrong, just do your fractions. Okay, now I'm looking at the number 18.4. The midpoint is 18.5. If I look at this way, 18.4. Before 18.4 is 18, the whole number, and 19. At the whole number place, the ones place. So you're asking to round to the nearest whole number. It's either 18 or 19. Okay, so looking at 18.4 is closer to 18 than is closer to 19. Why? Because the midpoint is 18.4. Midpoint is 18.5, sorry. So I'll round to 18. 18.4 is rounded to 18 when rounded to the nearest whole number. Okay, then I move it on to the next page. The durian. The durian shows you 4.48. No matter how many decimal places this is showing you, I'm asking for the nearest kilogram. So the nearest kilogram focuses on the ones place before the decimal point. No matter is it point how many? The previous kilogram is 4. The next kilogram is 5. So I'm looking for the full number. Okay? So it's either, so I'm looking at the full number, it's either 4 or 5 kilograms. Looking at the tens place, 0.4. 4.4 is less than 4.5, which is a midpoint. So you will round down. So it will be 4 kilograms. 0, you are both wrong. Okay? Because it's asking for the nearest kilogram. Do you understand that? Rakshan, are you able to record a video of yourself explaining? Yes. Are you putting it up on Google Classroom? Alright as well. So, Farhan, I will hear your explanation for this question, the correct question. Rakshan, I will hear your explanation for this question, 23.5. Anybody else want to review yourself? No. Yes, very good. Then you can try out any of these questions. Okay? And first, may I please urge you, number one, to look real.